This morning on DC News Now, 2 people shot in Northwest DC. Police continue their search for suspects. Showers exit this morning with partly sunny skies and 80s again this afternoon. Meteorologist Jackie Layer is tracking more storm chances to round out the week. Remembering the faces of fentanyl overdoses. Virginia celebrating a drop in deaths.
We needed to take a comprehensive approach, not a single program, not a single bill.
The D.C. Council weighs the commander's return as some neighbors say no to the deal.
You have a stadium and hotels. That means you probably don't have housing and grocery stores.
Why some are speaking out. The Caps hoping to close out round 1. The team gearing up to play the Canadians tonight in D.C.
You're watching the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Well, good morning and thanks for starting your Wednesday with us here on DC News Now. I'm Tanaya Wright.
And good morning. I'm Shanika Grimshaw. I'll be tracking your roads and the commute here. It is getting slow out there, unfortunately. But first, we want to talk about the scattered showers. Jackie, is it still around?
No, I mean, much of that rainfall has subsided, but we do a couple of areas with some light sprinkles at this point. We did have some heavier rain earlier this morning, right around 2:30 to 3:30 this morning. Those have since faded away. Just some lingering showers across southernmost parts of Maryland at this point, and even a shower or two back over towards parts of West Virginia. It's all from this cold front. It's continuing to dive its way farther south, and in doing so, that will take much of that rainfall with it. So we're going to look at drier conditions prevailing later on today. We'll also see a bit more of that sunshine breaking out later on this afternoon too. High temperatures will climb back in those upper 70s to lower 80s across the map for later on today. It's already off to a warm start out there right now. Most areas are starting off into those 60s at this point, just shy of 70 right now in DC and Lexington Park, and we're seeing those upper 50s to middle to upper 60s depending on location along the I-81 corridor as well. So a warm start to the day, just a couple of lingering sprinkles, but later on today we should be seeing a mix of sun and clouds and those highs into those lower 80s for much of the region. Tomorrow, similar high temperatures, but we could see some isolated thunderstorms in the afternoon. I'll break it all down coming up in just a few minutes. Shanika, what's the latest on those roads?
All right, well, it looks like you're crawling right now. This is along BW Parkway heading northbound right near Arundel Mills Boulevard. Traffic is getting by one lane at this hour. It's going to be really slow for commuters. Now, heading more in our area here, this is 495 heading both east and westbound right near Maryland 97 Georgia Avenue. Now, before this point, we do have a shoulder blocked. I do believe that's the right shoulder. So you are seeing major congestion in the area. Also, the right side is blocked 395 heading northbound out of Virginia right before you head into the district over the 14th Street Bridge there. I do believe that crash is really close to Boundary Channel Drive. And the rest of your commute this morning, really, your Capitol Beltway right now is looking good to go. Here's a pic of what it looks like there on 395 near Boundary Channel heading northbound. So again, that crash, as you can see, it's taking at least one lane.
Developing now, a man and a teenage boy were injured after a shooting in Northwest D.C. Now, this happened near the intersection of Georgia and New Hampshire Avenues near the Petworth Metro Station. Now, this was a scene from last night. Police say they got a call about a shooting around 9 o'clock. The victims were shot multiple times. The man was not breathing at the time. The teenage boy was. Both of them taken to an area hospital. Police say they are looking for a car like this, a black Honda, last seen on going west on Quincy Place.
And new details to a story we first brought to you yesterday. Police say they took a 16-year-old with gang ties into custody after he took off from a traffic stop on Tuesday. Investigators say a Virginia state trooper opened fire after a struggle with the teen. A doorbell camera capturing the struggle in a Fairfax County neighborhood. Officers could be heard yelling before the gun goes off. Virginia State Police say the teen left the scene of a traffic stop at Burke Station and Main Street in the city of Fairfax. A trooper tracked him to a Fairfax County neighborhood where county officers then helped. Police say the teenager took off and the trooper struggled with him and fired a shot. Virginia State Police say the teenager has non-life-threatening injuries and the teen had outstanding warrants, including other pending charges.
And a woman was arrested in Fairfax County accused of robbing a bank in Annandale. Now, this happened on Monday afternoon at Little River Turnpike. Police say Vicky Fung gave the teller a note demanding money but did not show a weapon. Once she got the money, she took off. A short time later, Fung was arrested at her home. She's being held without bond. All right, well, a deal to bring the Washington Commanders back home to D.C. continues to be met with mixed reactions and even sharp criticism by council members and area residents.
Yeah, our Candace Cole joins us live in the studio with more on the pushback. Good morning, Candace.
Good morning. Well, D.C.'s deal with the Commanders may be signed and sealed, but it still has quite a way to go before it's actually delivered. As some council members say, this new stadium project, slated to cost around $4 billion in total, is not the right investment for the city and has residents in that area calling out the mayor for putting profits over the people.
The developers win all the time, and we have nothing to say.
Dozens of people crammed into a forum last night organized by the No Billionaires Playground Coalition to speak out against Mayor Muriel Bowser's ambitious plans to have a multi-billion-dollar stadium project break ground at the old RFK Stadium site next year. Now, that plan includes spending $2.7 billion on a covered stadium that can be used year-round. That's big enough to seat 65,000 fans and a parking area big enough for 8,000 cars. There's also plans to build 5,000 to 6,000 homes in the area. About 30% of those would be for affordable housing, along with an entertainment district. D.C. taxpayers would be on the hook for about $1 billion of that cost. But those plans have to get approved through the city council, which is split 4-3 on that issue. And residents in the area feel they haven't been heard, calling for redevelopment of Ward 7 without the new stadium.
I think it's a bad deal for the city. It's a bad deal for taxpayers.
If you have a stadium and hotels, that means you probably don't have housing and grocery stores. And that's really what folks in Ward 7 say they want and need.
Now, if the council approves Mayor Bowser's plan, construction would begin next fall. But so far, council members Brianne Nadeau and Charles Allen are a hard no vote on that. Tanaya, Shanika.
All right, Candace, thank you. It is now 6:06. New developments in the case of Kilmar Garcia, the Maryland man who was wrongfully deported to El Salvador. Now, this evening is the deadline of a stay issued by a judge for the White House to begin complying with the Supreme Court's order to facilitate Garcia's return. The Trump administration asking a federal judge for a pause so it can stop the judge-required updates on the efforts it's made to return him. This comes as Trump continues to defy that order from SCOTUS. And last night in an interview with ABC News, Trump saying he could call the president of El Salvador to begin that process, but he won't. And then later in that interview, Trump flipping, saying he doesn't have the power to return Garcia at all. And as we approach that deadline, we're learning Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen wrote a letter to President Trump detailing his meeting earlier this month with El Salvador's vice president. He says, in part, our discussion shows that your administration is doing nothing to comply with and implement the Supreme Court's order to facilitate Mr. Garcia's return to the U.S. and revealed that the government of El Salvador is holding him solely at the request of your administration and specifically because you are paying them to imprison him. President Trump has not responded publicly to the letter, and you can read Senator Van Hollen's full letter on our website at dcnewsnow.com.
And Virginia recognizing National Fentanyl Awareness Day, the Commonwealth says it is seeing the largest decrease in overdose deaths in years.
Yeah, DC News Now's Max Marcilla has more on the reasons why, including the work of advocates inspired by loved ones they lost.
The faces of fentanyl include thousands of Virginians who have died of a fentanyl overdose over the last several years. We saw those rates increase dramatically during the pandemic. But now some positive news, as Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin says far fewer Virginians are overdosing and dying from the lethal drug.
I come here today to share good news.
4 years after the peak of the opioid epidemic in Virginia, an encouraging trend. Over the last year, Virginia saw a 34% decrease in fatal overdoses of all substances, a 44% decrease in fatal fentanyl overdoses.
I expect we will see a much greater reduction now that the border is fully secured.
Virginia's governor giving credit to the Trump administration before reflecting on his own Commonwealth's efforts.
We can save a life with today's information,
including ramping up Narcan distributions, drug seizures, and a change in several laws, including increasing punishments for dealers.
We needed to take a comprehensive approach, not a single program, not a single bill, but a comprehensive approach.
But perhaps it's these faces that can make the biggest difference. In the DEA headquarters hallways, these are the lives lost to fentanyl. Babies, tons of teenagers, countless loved ones gone.
It's every parent's worst nightmare.
Delane Mazik's son, Gray, is one of those faces. He was an athlete, a Clemson University student beloved by so many, and now his face is on this wall after he unknowingly took a pill to treat an illness that turned out to be 100% fentanyl.
Sadly, our son, Gray, could be the poster child for it only takes one.
As Governor Youngkin proclaims this National Fentanyl Awareness Day, he says it's a moment to mourn the lives lost, applaud the progress, but work to one day make sure no more names are added to this wall. In Arlington, Max Marcilla, DC News Now.
And turning now to the district, D.C.'s Attorney General is suing 4 Virginia drivers and 1 Maryland driver. He says they each owe tens of thousands of dollars in traffic fines. Brian Schraub says the Maryland driver owes more than $187,000 for most owed for dangerous driving violations in the district. All 5 drivers are responsible for a combined 3,500 traffic infractions, racking up to a total of $425,000 in fines. Now, the lawsuit were brought on under the STEER Act, which went into effect last year, and it allows D.C. to crack down on dangerous out-of-town drivers. And over in Maryland, a warning for drivers to slow down. In Anne Arundel County, new speed cameras are now up in 6 school zones. Police say they're active from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m., and the warning period lasts 15 days. Then citations will start. You can find a list of the new locations on our website at dcnewsnow.com. It is now 6:11. The Caps are back in the district.
Yes, they are. Tonight, still ahead, how the team is preparing to move one step closer to the Stanley Cup. Plus, the push for Medicare for all. Why nurses and some lawmakers say a bill will help American health care.
All right, let's take a live look outside. Jackie, the sun is coming up. What can we expect today?
Yeah, I mean, we're starting off with some clouds out there, even a couple of lingering sprinkles, but those will fade away. We'll see drier conditions later on with highs right into those lower 80s. Now, you do have some more chances for some thunderstorms later this week. More details on that right after the break.